Good morning, guys. I just wanted to breeze through my garden really quickly while it's overcast to show you a couple of things that are blooming here in Northwest Arkansas at the end of June and beginning of July for me. The east side of my garden is a place where I did some experimenting with cool flowers, and I planted them in really early spring. This guy is a little bit wilty, needs some water, but I did have one bells of Ireland come up, and it's looking really nice, as well as these bupleurum. And my snapdragons that I planted here are still blooming like crazy. I really thought that they would stop blooming by now, but they're doing really nice. I guess I have one more Bells of Ireland right there in the back. You can also see that my Limelight Hydrangeas here are starting to bloom. These are second year plants. I believe they were maybe 1 or 3 gallons when I got them. They were the smallest size available, and they are probably 5 times bigger than when I got them at least. And the hydrangeas a little bit further down are doing even better. Remember, this guy is new this year. I think it was 7 gallons when I planted it, and hopefully it'll be even bigger next year. Hopefully it'll start to catch up. But you can see just at my second year that I have a ton of limelight blooms that I'm super excited to use for floral arrangements. And based on the research that I've done, it looks like I need to wait a little bit until these start to kind of fade so that they last better in the vase and don't wilt. So I'll take you guys along as I work on that. Another one of my cool flower experiments was really early planted Love in a Mist, and it has finally started to bloom. So you can see these blue blooms just in time for the 4th of July, and then this plant next to it bloomed a little bit earlier. It still has some blooms, but here are the pods that it has created, which are pretty cool. I'm leaving these and also this bupleurum next to them, hoping that they'll self-seed in the garden and that I'll have them next year. This pinky purple yarrow is a little bit further behind than my yarrow on the east side that I've already cut back, but it is looking really nice. I went ahead and cut back my daylilies, my yellow ones, and then my purple ones further down, so they're starting to rebloom. And you can see that this accidental blackberry that I have has just been torn up by Japanese beetles. So I'm taking this out and moving it along my fence line when it gets a little bit cooler so it has a better chance. But I am not loving the way that this is just getting eaten alive. So hopefully when I move it along the fence line, the Japanese beetles will leave it alone a little bit more, but I'm not willing to spray at all, but also especially because it's an edible plant. So it will just have to either make it or not. My purple phlox from my great-grandma's house are looking so great. I'm really loving them. You can see kind of in the front that there are some that are kind of spent, but I'm hoping to cut these back and then allow them to reflush so that they'll bloom again for me. It's that time of the summer where I need to do some maintenance on my perennials. I need to cut back my salvia and it will go ahead and rebloom as well. My Rose of Sharon is looking really nice. When we got tornadoes in our area about a month ago, it kind of pulled my Rose of Sharon down, so I need to stake it back up a little bit. But this is another one that struggles with Japanese beetles. I find that they kind of collect in the blooms, and I don't know if we're through that part of the season or if it's just doing better now. It doesn't seem to have any on it currently that I can see, and the blooms look really nice. You can see that my bee balm or Monarda is fading, and like I said in my last update, it's really covered in powdery mildew, but the bees really love it and it is native in our area, so I'm leaving it for now. We'll see. You can see that the plant, parts of the plant that I cut back are growing back with less powdery mildew, but it is, I wouldn't say that it is super lovely right now, but like I said, the bees have really loved it. So now that it's dying back, I think I'll go ahead and cut it pretty severely and hope that that helps manage the powdery mildew, and maybe it will rebloom again for me too. I planted retro or globe thistle from seed, and this came up, or I planted it really early spring, and it's starting to bloom. It may be a mistake to have planted thistle in my garden, but I planted this for cutting, so we'll see. And then back behind there you can see my 9-bark that is native, is doing really well. It's already put on some growth since I planted it. I'm also excited about the hollyhock seedlings that I just recently planted a couple of weeks ago, and they have more than doubled in size, and I'm really excited to see those blooming again next year with my other hollyhocks too. This witch hazel has kind of struggled. I think I need to add extra drip to it, and that is one thing that really helps me to keep my flowers looking great in the summertime, is having them on drip irrigation so that they're consistently watered. That has been a game changer for me. You can see that these black-eyed Susans or Rudbeckia are looking amazing. I got these from my grandma's garden just last year, and they're just looking fantastic. They're like full-on plants at this point. And I really like the color combination with these daylilies as well, that are purplish and then yellow in the center. It looks so nice with the Rudbeckia. At this point, I need to cut down my catmint or nepeta, and again, it will rebloom as well. And you can see that this calendula is just starting to rebloom. I cut off all of the spent blooms and seed heads so that it will rebloom before it goes to seed. If we step in here, we can see that the purple smoke bush is looking really nice. I looked it up and took some advice from Dave Dowling, who said that if you're using purple smoke bush as a cut filler or foliage, that it's important to cut it all the way back. And mine grew one long stem that it was about 10 feet tall last year and then did nothing else, so I cut it almost completely back to the ground, and it has really flushed back and is looking nice this year. The hope is that this would be a pretty substantial shrub, but we'll see. And then also the coneflowers next to them are looking really nice and have kind of reseeded themselves, so they hopefully will continue to spread throughout this whole garden space. That's my goal right here. I did put in another peony a little bit late in the season, so that will fill in kind of this area, but the goal is purple coneflowers all back in here. So that gives you a quick update on what's going on in my garden, and I know it's not super fancy, but I just wanted to show you some of the things that are blooming in late June here, as our first flush of perennials is kind of dying back and needs to be cut down so it can rebloom. There are a few things that bloom a little bit later and kind of hold over the garden in that hot part of June and early July when things are kind of petering out. So if you're looking for bloomers that are just going strong in this time of the year and you live in my area or in a similar climate, I would recommend Limelight Hydrangeas. Look gorgeous this time of year. Purple phlox look great. Rose of Sharon looks awesome, and then also coneflowers and Echinacea as well, or Echinacea and Rudbeckia as well.